Hello dear students, welcome to JDC Classes English. So as we know that we have started our Tejas series for railway pharmacist. So in today's Tejas series we are going to see about the pharmaceutical technology, and in that we are going to see some of the important MCQs related to your semi-solid dosage forms and the suppositories. So let's start with the first MCQ. So the viscous emulsion of semi-solid consistency intended for the application to the skin. Now we have the different types of semi-solid dosage form. In that, each semi-solid dosage forms, they have the particular characteristics. For example, now they have asked about the viscous emulsion. So basically our creams, they are nothing but our viscous type of emulsions. Paste, if we talk about the paste, so they contains the highest amount of your insoluble particle, almost like 50%. So they may ask you like which of the following is having highest percentage of insoluble solid, like that. Ointment, they are greasy in nature, and gel, basically they are transparent in nature. So these are some of the characteristic. So in the case of viscous emulsion, option B is the right answer, that is creams. So they are the viscous emulsion that is intended to be applied onto the skin. Now see here the explanation for this particular MCQ. Ointment, they are the semi-solid greasy preparation. It contains medicament which is either suspended or it is emulsified in the ointment base. Now we will see the what are the different types of ointment base in the upcoming MCQs. Creams, they are the viscous emulsions which are of semi-solid consistency, and they are also intended to be applied onto the skin. Paste, they generally contain the highest amount of the insoluble particles, and because the insoluble particle is high, the greasiness is also less as compared to our ointment. And gel, they are the dispersion system which may contain some suspension, and it can be large or small organic material which is dispersed into that suitable liquid. So this was for the gel. Coming to our second MCQ, Whitfield ointment is prepared by which of the following method? Now in this case, all of the options which are given, that is the fusion, trituration and chemical method, they all are the preparation method for the ointment, but specifically they have asked for Whitfield ointment. So option B is the right answer, that is our trituration method. So fusion method is nothing but melting of the equipment, melting of the excipients. Trituration method, we are using mortar and pestle. Chemical reaction means the excipients, if they are reacting, for example, iodine ointment is there. So Whitfield ointment, it is prepared by trituration method. Fusion method is our simple ointment which is prepared. So for Whitfield ointment, option B is the right answer, that is the trituration method. So fusion method, as I said, like it is prepared by melting of the excipient or the ointment basis. So generally the ingredients which are present, they are beeswax, cetyl alcohol, stearyl alcohol, stearic acid, hard paraffin, etc. So the example by which by fusion method, the ointment which is prepared, that is our simple ointment. Coming to our trituration method, so it is mostly used for filled ointment, and remember the composition, that is our benzoic acid ointment BPC. So that is nothing but by trituration method. Next is our strong iodine ointment. It is an example of the ointment which is prepared by the chemical reaction method. So these are the different methods of preparation along with the examples. Next is cocoa butter is available in which form? So basically there are four forms of the cocoa butter which are having different melting points. So these all are the forms of the cocoa butter: alpha, beta, gamma. So see here, melting point of cocoa butter is important, the different polymorphic form and the melting point. So for alpha form, it is 24 degrees Celsius. So you can remember it is close to our room temperature, that is 25 degrees Celsius. So how it is prepared, that is given. It is first you have to melt the cocoa butter because the melting point is 24. After melting, you have to suddenly cool it at 0 degrees Celsius. So that's how you will get the alpha form. Talking about the beta form, little bit higher it is there, that is 28 to 31 degrees Celsius. Crystallizes out from the liquefied cocoa butter on stirring at 18 to 23 degrees Celsius. So at 18 to 23 degrees Celsius, If you start stirring out the liquefied cocoa butter, it will start crystallizing out, because at this temperature it will be solid. Its liquefaction point or the melting point is 28 to 31 degrees Celsius. Talking about the beta form, so that is the most stable for making of the suppository. So basically which you will use, that is the beta form. Gamma form, it is having the melting point of 18 degrees Celsius. That means at room temperature it will be liquid. It is obtained by again rapid cooling to liquefy cocoa butter at a refrigeration temperature. So rapidly you have to cool at refrigerate temperature. So these are the different polymorphic form. So polymorph, I hope everybody knows that when it is present in more than one crystalline form, we call it as a polymorphic form of cocoa butter. Next is beeswax is an ingredient of. So basically we are adding it into ointment bases. So there are different types of ointment bases. So now beeswax, it is an ingredient which is present in the absorption bases. Now we'll see the table. So these are the different types of the bases that is been used in the ointment. So first is oleaginous. The name itself suggests that oleaginous bases means this is oil like. It will have the consistency, or it will have the texture of that, so it is oil like. As you move from oleaginous to the water soluble or the water washable, it becomes more hydrophilic. So first, the composition for oleaginous, it is hydrocarbon or the vegetable oil. For absorption, it can be your anhydrous, nature anhydrous wax, or it can be your W by O emulsion, W by O. Water washable, as I said, it will become hydrophilic, so it is O by W emulsion. Water is present in the external phase, that means it is present in excess. And in case of water soluble, any of the water soluble components or the constituents may be present. Now the water content, as I said, if it is oil like, it will be anhydrous. So it is oil like, so this has to be water content, anhydrous. This can be anhydrous or this can be hydrous depending upon the composition. This is eventually hydrous only because they are water washable and water soluble. Water affinity, definitely it is hydrophobic. This is depends. If it is hydrous, then it will be hydrophilic. This is also hydrophilic. Drug which is incorporated, so here it is solids and the oils can be incorporated. Here also solid oils, aqueous solution can be incorporated because we are preparing emulsions. Here also solid oils, aqueous solution, and here solids and oils can be incorporated. Drug release, here it is poor. Yes, because if your drug is releasing, it should have affinity towards the aqueous media. So because here it is water, here it is oil like, so the drug release is poor. But now as you move, it will become good. Like for example, here it is poor to fair, fair to good, and here it is good. So eventually water soluble, it will have good release properties. Remember, the examples are very important. For the oleaginous, we have petrolatum, hard and liquid paraffin. For the absorption basis, we have wool fat, beeswax, hydrous wool fat, and lanolin. For water washable, we have emulsifying base, soft paraffin, and water soluble, we have macrogol and carbovax. Remember, the alternative name of macrogol is polyethylene glycol. The alternative name of macrogol, that is polyethylene glycol. Okay, coming to our next MCQ, decomposition of a fat due to rancidification is indicated by. Now the fat, it will have a certain iodine value, it will have certain solid fat index, so it will have certain properties, right? So depending upon, now here if you see in the option, here it is a low iodine value, high iodine value. Now both cannot be there, right? So either this is saponification value, high water number. Now here low iodine value, high iodine value. So either of them has to be answered because both are contrast, right? So for this option B is the right. If high iodine value is there, then the decomposition is there, and that you rancidification. Rancidification is nothing but the oxidation of that fat. We call it as rancidity, right? So it is indicated by iodine value. Now for this, these are the specifications of the suppositories because we are using fat, right? So first is about the hydroxyl value. Now what do you mean by hydroxyl value? For example, you have 1 gram of fat. 1 gram of fat sample you have, and you have to acetylate that fat. You have to acetylate that fat. So you will require certain amount of acetic acid, right? X amount of acetic acid you will require. Now, to neutralize this acetic acid, how much mg of KOH is required? How much milligram of KOH is required to neutralize this acetic acid? That is nothing but your hydroxyl value. That is nothing but your hydroxyl value. Now see here, the number represents the milligram of KOH required to neutralize the acetic acid, means this one, which is used to acetylate 1 gram of fat. So the acetic acid which is used to neutralize this, 1 gram of acetic acid which is used to acetylate 1 gram of fat, that is nothing but your mg of KOH, and that indicates the hydroxyl value. So hydroxyl value is given in terms of mg of KOH. Next is your saponification value. Saponification value is also your mg of KOH, but which is required for neutralization and saponification of ester in 1 gram of fat. Yeah. Neutralization of free acid and saponifying the ester in 1 gram of fat. This also represents your mg of KOH. The terminologies are very important. Next is your iodine value. Now, iodine value represents, definitely if it is iodine, how much grams of iodine will react with 100 gram. Now initially it was 1 gram of fat, now it is 100 grams of fat or any other unsaturated material. So if your iodine is reacting with your fat, how much iodine is reacting with your 100 grams of fat, that is nothing but your iodine value, and the high iodine value indicates the rancidification of fat. This is what the question was there. So remember this one. Next is about the water number. Now definitely if it is a water number means how much water, that too in grams, can be incorporated. Now here it is also 100 grams of fat. So for initial two parameters we have seen 1 gram of fat. Next two parameters we have seen 100 grams of fat. So if they are talking about water number, that means how much grams of water is required when it is reacting with your 100 grams of fat. Next is about the acid value. Now it is nothing but milligram of KOH required to neutralize the free acid in 1 gram. Now if you see saponification and acid value, they are same. Both require mg of KOH, but acid value is not talking about the saponification of ester. It only tells about the neutralization of the free acid. So mg of KOH required to neutralize the free acid in 1 gram of the substance. So remember acid value. Solidification time. Now as you know that suppositories basically they will melt at our body temperature, whatever 37 plus minus 5 plus minus 0.5. So that is nothing but the melting. Now solidification point tells us at what temperature or how much time it will require to get solidified. So see, when it is added into the mold, right? So when you will prepare, it will be liquid. When you will add into the mold, it will become solid. So how much time it is taking? That is your solidification point. Solid fat index talks about the temperature. So basically you will have a solid mass, right? For example, initially it is 100% of solid mass, right? Yeah. So initially it is 100% of your solid mass. So it will be like this graph you will get. Initially the temperature is also less, right? Here it is temperature, this is your solid mass. So initially it is 100%. As you increase the temperature, the solid mass will start reducing, right? At certain point it will reduce. So at what temperature it will completely melting, that can be identified using solid fat index. So solid fat index is nothing but the percentage of fat solid versus temperature, and it is used for solidification and the melting point. From this, we can identify at what temperature it is getting solid and at what temperature it is getting liquefied. So it is determined by dilatometry. The equipments are very, very important. Remember those equipments. Okay, so coming to the next MCQ, the number of parts by weight of medicament that displace one part by weight of a base. So again, this is for the suppositories one. So how much it is displacing. So the name itself suggests if it is displacing, it is a displacement value. So displacement value of that particular drug is the amount of the drug that will displace the one part of the suppository base, and it is dependent upon both drug and the suppositories. In the suppository with 20% weight by weight drug, there is no need to apply displacement value because as it is less only 20%, so there is no need to apply the displacement value. And the formula is displacement value is equal to n into d. N is nothing but how many number of suppositories are there. D is weight of your drug, D indicates, and B indicates weight of your base, that is a suppository base which is present in the each suppository. So final formula you get is dV is equal to n into d divided by n into bracket b plus d minus w. So that is nothing but your displacement value. Choose the correct specification for nasal suppositories. So suppositories, depending upon which cavity we are using, the size and the weight of the suppositories vary. Now for nasal suppository, remember nasal, since it is a long one, so it is 9 to 10 centimeter in length and its weight is about 1 gram. So remember this one. So okay, so if we talk about the rectal suppository, depending upon the cavity also, there are different shapes of the suppositories. So in case of suppositories, it is very important to identify or to remember the weight, size and the shape of the suppository. So if we talk about the rectal, adult it is 2 gram, children it is 1 gram. So it is having a torpedo shape. It is having a torpedo shape. Vaginal suppositories, remember the alternative names, okay? So because they may ask you like vaginal suppositories is also known as. So for that reason it is important. Vaginal suppositories, they are also known as pessaries. Vaginal tablets and capsules, so that is 3 to 5 gram. They are conical in shape. Urethral suppositories, they are known as Bauchis. Male it is having 4 gram, female 2 gram. Length is 60 to 75 millimeter. So here also if you see adult 2 gram, children 1 gram, so it is half, right? Similarly male 4 gram and female 2 gram, so again it is half. Pencil shaped suppositories are there for the urethral. Nasal suppositories, so that is 1 gram, length is 9 to 10 centimeter and the shape is cylindrical. Ear cones, because they are small, so it is a bullet shape and its weight is 1 gram. So remember all the types of suppositories along with their shapes. Now next is on standing, the dispersion medium is squeezed out in droplets and the gel shrinks. Now there are different phenomena like imbibition, syneresis. Imbibition is nothing but taking up the volume, but taking up the liquid, but volume will not increase. There are certain terms where taking up the liquid and increase in the volume, that we call it as a swelling. Like that, the dispersion medium is squeezed out in the droplets. So this is the gel. For example, if you have a gel and if the droplets are removed from this, it will shrink in size, right? So that phenomena, it is known as syneresis. Okay, so that we will see. Next, the thing is about the imbibition. As I said, it will take up a certain volume of a liquid by a gel, but it will not increase in the volume. So if it is not increase in the volume, we call it as imbibition. If it is increase in the volume, we call it as a swelling. For example, if you keep the resins in water, it will take up the fluid or it will take up the water and it will swell, right? So that is a swelling. The volume increases, right? So syneresis. On standing, the dispersion medium is squeezed out in droplets and the gel shrink. If whatever droplets are there, if it come out, then it will start shrinking. Thixotropy, we know that it is a reversible gel to sol transition. We have anti-thixotropy also, in which sol to gel transition is also there with no change in volume or temperature. So example are suspension, lotion, emulsion, creams. Basically the pharmaceutical preparations, so they exhibit the thixotropy. Zero gel, as the name suggests, if the complete removal of the solvent is there, we call it as zero gel. So how you can remember is zero means there is absolutely zero solvent in the gel. So when a liquid is removed from a gel and only the framework remains, we call it as a zero gel. Example, gelatin sheets, acacia tears, tragacanth flakes. So these are nothing but zero gels. So sometimes they may give you like gelatin sheet is an example of, so zero gel or syneresis, like that it may come. Now shape of rectal suppositories. Now already we have seen rectal suppositories. The first one, it was torpedo shape. So your shapes are given. Rectal, this is a torpedo shape, this is a conical, this is a pencil shape, and this is a cylindrical shape. So basically depending upon the type of cavities, these shapes have been designed. So the size and shapes we have already discussed. Following are the substances used in the formulation of jellies except. That means the three of them are used except. So basically we are using the naturally occurring, like sodium alginate is used, starch pectin is used, but glycerin it is not used. Okay. So glycerin it is act as your humectant also. So in this tragacanth is used, sodium alginate, pectin, starch, gelatin and some cellulose derivatives are used. Which of the following has low molecular weight used as humectant in cream? As I said, glycerin also act. Apart from glycerin, we have polyethylene glycols, low molecular weight. Okay, for example, 400, even 600 is also liquid in nature. They have asked about low molecular weight only, right? Because if you go towards higher molecular weight of polyethylene glycol, then they are solid in nature. They will not act as humectant. Okay. So remember, also remember the alternative name of polyethylene glycol is macrogol. So maybe in the option macrogol may be there. So remember the alternative names. So the correct answer is polyethylene glycol. So humectants, the name itself suggests that they provide some humidity. For example, if you are using in the toothpaste, in the creams to prevent the drying out, right? So it is a hygroscopic substance that promotes the moisture retention in the topical formulation, right? It prevents the drying out of the formulation. So we have polyols like glycerin, propylene glycol, sorbitol 70%, and the lower molecular weight polyethylene glycol. So they are used as humectant in creams. The choice of humectant is based only on its rate of moisture exchange, but also on its effect on the texture viscosity. So depending upon for what we are using the formulation, we can use the different types of humectants. Next is the liquefaction time of cocoa butter or hydrogenated vegetable oil. So as we have seen, there are different types of cocoa butter. So the liquefaction means how much time it will take to get liquefied. So that is 3 to 7 minutes. So these are very important specifications for the cocoa butter. So most widely it is used in the suppository. Melting point is around 30 to 35 degrees Celsius, which is close to body temperature. Iodine value, now we have already seen how much grams of iodine is required. So that is 34 to 38. Higher iodine value indicates the rancidification of that particular fat. Acid value should not be more than 4. Remember this. Liquefaction time, it is 3 to 7 minutes. Cocoa butter exhibit polymorphism. We have seen there are total 4 types: alpha, beta, beta dash, gamma. Basically, they all are unstable and are converted to stable form over a period of several days. Initially, they are unstable. Okay, after processing, it will become stable form. The rate limiting barrier in topical formulation is. Now we know that there are different layers of the skin, right? Epidermis, dermis, and all. So in that, there is one layer that is a stratum corneum, which will decide what molecules will enter and what molecules will come out. So this is called as rate limiting barrier. So that is our stratum corneum. It will decide or it will govern what molecules are going inside and coming outside. So whenever we are preparing any of the topical formulation, we have to take into consideration how this stratum corneum will allow our molecule to pass into the blood circulation. So that is the stratum corneum. So these are different layers. So here if you see, this is your epidermis layer, right? In the epidermis also you have many layers. So first one is a stratum corneum, granular, spinous, and the basal layer. Okay, so these are various layer: epidermis, dermis, and the subcutaneous. So epi means above. So above the dermis there is epidermis, and in the epidermis we have stratum corneum, that is the rate limiting barrier. Acid value of cocoa butter should not be more than 4, that we have already seen. So again, this is the some specifications like melting point 30 to 35. Remember the Fahrenheit calculation also, it is 86 to 95. Iodine value 34 and 38. It should not be more than 4. The acid value easily melt, become rancid. So it easily melts and it become rancid. Liquefaction time or the point is 3 to 7 minutes, and it should be protected from the light. Layered suppository comprising an outer shell that has a melting point. So outer shell it will have different melting point, the core it will have a different melting point. So basically, as we know, it is 37 to 38. Now if you see, outer shell it will have a melting point of 37 to 38, and the core it will have a melting point of 34 to 35 degrees Celsius. So outer, because the room temperature also fluctuates a little bit higher, each layer contains different drugs. For example, if you want to incorporate two drugs at the same time, if they are not compatible with each other, then you can give it as a layer. So one layer first it will get released, followed by the second layer. The same thing we do in the case of tablet. Okay, multiple compressed tablets. So if it is incompatible, you can give the two drugs in the same tablets. Okay, all of the following are emulsifying base except. Now previously also, if you remember, I told you macrogol is nothing but your polyethylene glycol, which act as a humectant. It act as a humectant. It is not your emulsifying base. Apart from that, vitepsol, masipol, and masaestranium, that is your emulsifying base. Macrogol is not your emulsifying base. Okay, that is your aqueous base. Now see, for suppository base we require oleaginous, that is oil or some fatty material. Then you require aqueous base, and then you require emulsifiers, because how you will mix oil and the aqueous phase, right? So for oleaginous we have seen cocoa butter. Please remember the alternative name of cocoa butter is nothing but your theobroma oil. Okay. Synthetic fats, hydrogenated palm kernel oil also we can use. Aqueous base, they are glycerinated gelatin. Composition of glycerinated gelatin is also important, in which 14% is your gelatin, 70% is your glycerin, and remaining is your water. Then you have soap glycerin, polyethylene glycol, which is your macrogol. So that is your aqueous base. They are miscible with water. Emulsifying base, you have masa asterinium, vitepsol, masupol. Do not get confused between the examples of these suppository base. Generally paste contains, so first only we discussed about the semi-solid dosage form. So each semi-solid dosage form has that characteristic. So paste, it has the characteristic like it has high percentage of insoluble solid. So the correct answer is high. Low, it is not there, and it cannot be both. So option A is the right answer. So it is usually prepared by levitation. You will incorporate the solid into the congealed, that is the melted system, and with a portion of a base to form paste like mass. It contains highest percentage of insoluble solid, that is more than 50%, and they have good adhesion on skin and less greasy, because whenever you will apply, it will have less greasiness as compared to our ointment. Liquid paraffin is of, basically there are hard paraffin, soft paraffin, mineral oil. So it comes under your mineral origin. Liquid paraffin comes under your mineral origin. So as I said, you have soft paraffin, you have hard paraffin, and the liquid paraffin. So soft paraffin, that is a semi-solid hydrocarbon which is obtained from petrol atom. So there can be yellow soft paraffin or white soft paraffin. This is prepared by bleaching yellow paraffin. So you will do bleaching. That is the reason it may get white color. Melting it is 38 to 56 degrees Celsius. White soft paraffin is never used in ophthalmic ointment because I think it is a bleached one. So you cannot use it for directly eye preparation like ophthalmic ones. We cannot use. Then we have hard paraffin. So they are solid hydrocarbon which is obtained from petroleum and it is used to harden or soften the ointment base. Liquid paraffin, it is of mineral oil or liquid paraffin. It is obtained by petroleum by distillation. It is insoluble in water and alcohol. So these are the characteristics which should not be used in ophthalmic. What are the melting point and which is of which origin. So these are the important things. Creams are, as we discussed, creams are nothing but our emulsions only. Viscous emulsion as we discussed. So it contains oil in water or water in oil. They are divided into O by W in which oil droplets will be dispersed. If it is O by W, oil is dispersed into your water. Water is your external. If it is W by O, water is dispersed into the oil, which are composed of smaller droplets in a continuous oil phase. So depends, like if it is your vanishing cream or if it is your cold cream or any other cream, it depends. So depending upon the type of cream, there are different emulsion present. DMSO act as penetration enhancer for topical formulation. As I said that we have to target that stratum corneum, right? So either you will disrupt the structure of stratum corneum or how you are penetrating it. Based on the different mechanism, we have different types of penetration enhancers. So basically this DMSO, DMSO is dimethyl sulfoxide, DMA is your dimethyl acetamide, DMF is your dimethyl formamide. Okay, so basically any of them they ask, right? Now they have asked about DMSO, but if they asked about DMA or they may ask you about the DMF. So basically they will denaturate the proteins. As we know, the cell wall, it is made up of proteins. So they will rupture, basically they will act on this protein. So these solvents, they will act on the proteins. And once the structure is broken down, the molecules can be easily passed. So yeah, so we have terpene which disrupt the bilayer lipids. Then we have sulfoxides like dimethyl sulfoxide. They will denaturate the protein. Then we have azones that will again interact with the lipid structure. Pyrrolidone, they will act on the keratin structure. Then we have fatty acid. Again, they will disrupt the lipid packing and the bilayer. Alcohols, they will improve the drug partitioning because from your formulation, it will partition into the cell structure which is lipid in nature. Then surfactant, they will disrupt the lipid because surfactant, they have the action which will act on the proteins. Then we have urea, they will increase the water content of the layer. So keratolytic activity means it will break the keratin structure. Keratolytic. Lytic means breaking down of keratin structure. Identify the incorrect match of mechanism of action of penetration. So just now we have seen. So see here, pyrrolidone alter solvent nature or pyrrolidone increase. Though two are given, right? So either of them will be right and one will be incorrect. So pyrrolidone, they will not increase the solubility and thermodynamic. It will alter the solvent nature. And terpenes, they will modify solvent nature, interact and modify SC lipid bilayer. So these are the penetration enhancer. Pyrrolidone, they will alter the solvent nature. Terpenes will modify the solvent nature. Phospholipid, they will occlude the skin surface. Occlude means it will little bit disruption will be there. It will increase the tissue hydration. If the tissues is having hydrative property, the molecules can be passed. It is generally why it is difficult to cross because this is lipid bilayer, right? It is having oily structure. So if you give certain hydration to the skin, then it will be easy to pass. Fatty acid, they will interact and modify the lipid bilayers and lipid fluidization. Which of the following substance cause the incompatibility with PEG base? So as I said, if you are using macrogol, that is your PEG base, then you have to be careful because all of them will have the incompatibility with your polyethylene glycol, that is silver salt, tannic acid and aspirin. So see here, stability problems. If water is present, what will happen? You know, if water is present, it will accelerate the oxidation of those fats because water is having oxygen. So it will increase the process of oxidation. And if it is evaporating, then again crystallization will happen of the suppository. So it is very important that optimum water content should be present. Blooming means white powder deposition will be there at the surface made with a cocoa butter, because we have seen that cocoa butter is having some disadvantages. So blooming is one of that it will, white powder will deposit, right? So you can remember white flour which is blooming, right? Like this you can remember. Brittleness means the which is prepared from cocoa butter, it is quite elastic and it is brittle in nature. Rancidity, again because of the oxidation of the fat it occurs. And the incompatibility, rancidity, it is calculated by peroxide value. If it is hydrogen peroxide, H2O2, right? Because in the process of oxidation, peroxides are forming. Higher the number of peroxide, higher is the rate of oxidation. Incompatibility, penicillin is stable in cocoa butter but unstable in PEG base. Similarly, silver salts, tannic acid, aminopyrine, aspirin, sulfonamides are incompatible with PEG base. So this is very important to understand. Along with this, penicillin is also unstable with your polyethylene glycol base. Which of the following method is used to manufacture the suppository? So dissolution is not manufacturing. It is like how your suppository will get dissolved into biological fluids. Sterilization is not there, disinfection. So compression molding. Like we have hand molding, we have compression molding, that we will discuss here. Hand molding is the oldest method, like you will use the rolling to make the suppositories. Compression means you will use the compression force to make the suppositories. Pour molding means initially when you are preparing, it is in the melted form. So you will pour the suppository in certain molds, right? So after getting it solidified, it will be your solid suppositories, right? So during melting, it will have some higher melting point, and when it is cooled down, it will become solid at room temperature. Automatic, so the molding like pouring, cooling and the removal can be performed by the machine. And a typical rotary machine ranging from 3,500 to 6,000 suppositories per hour. Nowadays everything is automatic, the pouring, the molding and the removal, everything is there. So basically 3,500 to 6,000 suppositories can be prepared in 1 hour. Rectal suppository is mainly used for the treatment of, so basically rectal, it is used for constipation also and hemorrhoids. Hemorrhoids are nothing but when your blood vessels near that area will get swollen, so that is nothing but your hemorrhoids. Therapeutic uses for constipation and hemorrhoids, so basically these are the rectal suppositories. It is used for systemic actions in the condition when oral medication would not be retained and absorbed properly. So directly it goes into blood circulation, avoiding your hepatic first pass metabolism. And during severe nausea and vomiting, right? So patients are unable to take the capsules or the tablets by the oral route. So it becomes difficult, right, to take these kinds of medication by oral route. So in that case, this type of suppositories can be preferred. Adult 2 gram, children 1 gram. So you have to do half of it. All of the following comes under category of absorption or the emulsifying ointment except. So as we have already seen, there are different examples of the bases. So white mineral oil, it does not comes under your absorption one. So oleaginous, now we will see only the bases. Oleaginous, petrolatum, that is soft. Remember these alternative names also. Petrolatum is your soft paraffin. Hard paraffin, that is only paraffin. Liquid, it is a white mineral oil and that is the oleaginous. From the name also you can identify. Absorption or the emulsifier bases, they contains all. This contains in your oleaginous. So oil you can remember. Absorption or the emulsifier, the emulsifiable ointment base. So we have Woolfat, that is anhydrous lanolin. Hydrous Woolfat, that is lanolin. wool, alcohol, beeswax, and cholesterol. We have water soluble bases, as I have said, polyethylene glycol, so they are soluble in water. Water miscible, they are cetrimide emulsifying ointment base. So these are the different bases and their examples. The amount of KOH that would neutralize, as we have seen the specifications in case of suppositories, that is important. Now they have asked the amount of KOH that would neutralize the. You have to be very careful. Is it neutralizing the free acid or is it neutralizing the acetic acid? If it is neutralizing free acid, then it would have been acid value. But it is neutralizing what? Acetic acid, which is used to acetylate 1 gram of fat. And this is known as hydroxyl value. Saponification means it will neutralize, but it will saponify the ester. Water number is number of water molecules. So clearly they have asked about the KOH. And acid value means it will neutralize the free acid. So this is what we have discussed. So hydroxyl value is the correct answer. Milligram of KOH required to neutralize the free acid. Neutralize the acetic acid in the 1 gram of the fat. And if we talk about the acid value, neutralize the free acid in 1 gram of substance. So this is the difference between hydroxyl value and acid value. And if it is a neutralization of free acid and saponifying the ester, then only it will come saponification value. And water number, yes, water number in grams that can be incorporated in 100 grams of fat. Whitfield ointment contains main API ingredient. As we have seen earlier, Whitfield ointment, it is prepared by trituration method, and the ingredient which is present is benzoic acid and salicylic acid. So these are the present in Whitfield ointment. So they are ointments, they are the semi-solid preparation. They are intended to be applied on the external surface area, skin or the mucous membrane. It is dissolved, suspended or emulsified in a suitable ointment base, and it is greasy in appearance, suitable my antimicrobial preservatives. Yes, preservatives has to be there. They are mainly used for protective or emollient for the skin. In that Whitfield ointment composition, 2% is benzoic acid and 1% is salicylic acid. It is used to dissolve the uppermost layer of the skin, so it helps in cleaning the infection and better penetration of the drug. So these are some of the important points regarding ointment. Next is size of urethral suppositories for female and male. As I said, you have to reduce. So for male it will be higher, for female it will be less. So option is 2 and 1 gram. 1 and 2 gram is not for the female and male. It was for the adult and the children. That too it was rectal suppository. So only option that remains. That is the reason, instead of directly remembering the numbers, you try to remember it as 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, like that. So it becomes easy. So as I said, for the rectal it is adult 2 gram, children 1 gram. Now they have asked about urethral suppositories. So male it is 2 gram, male it is 4 grams and female it is 2 grams. So remember all the shapes. There are like n number of questions that can be formed using this. Miscellaneous jellies are used for, so it can be used for patch test or electrocardiography. So you might have seen ECG, while doing ECG, so they will apply certain gel, right? So patch testing used as vehicles for allergens, which is applied on skin in allergy test. So that is for the patch testing. ECG jellies, it contains NaCl, pumice powder and glycerin. So to reduce electrical resistance between skin and electrode. So it acts as a barrier. It gives protective action to the skin so that the electrode which are placed, that will not come directly contact with the skin. So the gels they are applying. Zero gel, as we discussed. Gel, if solvent which is present, if we remove, that is known as zero gel, but there are chances like some concentration of the solvent may be present. So in this case, solid gel, it is a solid gel now, right? Because there is no liquid. So solid gel with low solvent concentration is the right answer. So when a liquid is removed from a gel and only the framework remains, it is known as zero gel. So examples, we have gelatin sheet, we have acacia tears, Chagakant flakes. So this is a hydrogel first because water is present. Exchange with ethanol, we call it as alcohol, means whatever water is there that was removed, now it is known as alcohol. If we dry with supercritical carbon dioxide, so that is your dry ice also, so that is aerogel, and if you evaporate that, it will known as zero gel. So that's how the zero gel is formed. Okay, so thank you so much. So these were the important MCQs related to semi-solid dosage form and suppositories. For more such interesting videos, do follow our YouTube channel, which is GDC Classes English. And we will see the next important topic in the upcoming Tejas series. So thank you so much.